Hello, and welcome to our presentation on death with dignity. While there are several end-of-life options available to individuals in the United States, our team will be covering only one. So before we get started, let's take a quick look at what options are currently available. Euthanasia, often confused for assisted death or death with dignity. Euthanasia refers to the deliberate act of causing the death of a patient who is suffering from a medical condition. The major difference here is that the physician would perform the intervention instead of the patient. Palliative care focuses on pain management and providing a patient with comfort. This may be alongside or instead of life-saving or curative treatments. And life-saving or life-sustaining treatment is really any treatment of measure that, if discontinued, would result in a patient's death. And lastly, death with dignity. This term is typically used to identify legislation, and the term dignity has stirred some controversy. For the purpose of this presentation, we'll be covering this particular end-of-life option and defining it as a movement to provide options for the dying in order to control their end-of-life care. Over the last 100 years, the average life expectancy in America has nearly doubled. While longevity is celebrated as an achievement, the longer people live, the more likely they are to succumb to chronic terminal illness. In 2010, nearly 60% of patients who died in the U.S. did not have vital assistance of palliative care professionals to make their final days less stressful and less painful. Unless there is a continued expansion of end-of-life care programs in America, the Death with Dignity movement will continue to champion legislative changes in state law. The right to die issue will continue to roil in controversy because, like the right to an abortion, it confronts the very essential beliefs of the sanctity of life. And many religious groups continue to seek ways to ban and block psychiatric advance directives or PAD legislation since the 70s and will probably continue to do so in the future. While many bills are drafted each year, the majority fail. And some consider it a failure that most bills don't end up becoming laws. But we should really consider these bills as a testament to the growing support of the Death with Dignity movement, the will of the public, and the strength of the Oregon, Washington, and Vermont model legislation. In all, 25 legislatures have considered death with dignity in the 2015 legislative session, all highlighted in orange below. In Colorado, House Bill 15-1135 was introduced, debated, but unfortunately it was voted down in House committee. Only the states of Oregon, Washington, and Montana permit death with dignity, but it's only for their residents, and they have very strict guidelines. So let me leave you with a few questions. Do you think that more states will pass the Death with Dignity legislation similar to the existing legislative and legal decisions in Oregon, Washington, and Vermont? Do you feel that federal judges, especially the justices on the U.S. Supreme Court, enlarge the scope of liberty in the U.S. Constitution? In just a few short minutes, Amelia will be showing you two different types of case studies that will hopefully challenge you as a social worker and make you think through your own personal boundaries and ethics around this issue.